Okay, we're trying this again. I don't know if I'm being shut down or what, because I'm not liked for something. But anyways, we're getting this to try again, and hopefully this time it will go through because we're here to just come into a present state and be. So my first thing to do is read my disclaimer. That seems to be going okay so far. So this is my Coming Into Being series, and today is August 18th, 2021. I'm Marianne Carduner with Unbounded and Free. I'm not a medical doctor or therapist. I don't diagnose, prescribe, or heal. I can scan your frequency and energy patterning and tell you what I see. Please consult a doctor or therapist for professional advice. All content is copyright protected, and you may not use our content in any way, shape, or form. And also, if you participate in the chat, I'm not going to have anybody live with me, but if you participate on the chat, you're agreeing to just being out there basically. I'm not sure exactly what I have to say, but YouTube has recently sent out a message saying that even people's facial recognition um, is part of that privacy, I guess. So, anyways, welcome. And today we're going to keep it really simple, as always. Simple, we are here to really connect with ourselves and come into our own stability and our own presence, because this is the foundation for being able to hold our own space, maintain our balance, maintain our stability, maintain our center, is coming back into here. And regardless of where you're at, there's things are going really crazy right now out there, and it's not going to go away overnight. Unfortunately, it's just building up. So wherever you are, hey, Catherine. So it doesn't matter what your position is. What we're here is for coming into ourselves, our own beings, because that's where our strength lies in everything. So I'm not sure who all. If you're stopping in, say hi. So I know you're hi. And Diana, good, nice to see you guys, and whoever else is showing up. If you're not saying hi in the chat, so we'll just get started. So let's just kind of take a deep breath and start by just kind of relaxing in. Take a nice big deep breath, hold it, and then slowly release it. Really just focus on that breath releasing out of the mouth, and let yourself just melt into wherever you're sitting. And then you can do a couple more like that on your own count. And even on the out breaths is okay. Time to relax. You can even say that to yourself if you want. Sometimes it's good to just get the psyche in here. It gets a little blocked, and so a little, just saying it's like, okay, Marianne, you can just kind of chill right now. Just relax. And just feel those muscles kind of relaxing in. If you notice any tightness, just notice that. It's like, okay, yeah, that's tight. I see that. That's fine. And allowing yourself to slowly come a little bit more into that just present state, present moment. State of being. And even as you do that, you can open your eyes. If your mind needs something to focus on, just kind of like be aware of the breath as you look around. Hey, Kayla, good to see you. My buddies are showing up. This is great. This is a little buddy party. And welcome anybody else who I don't know yet. We had a new person last time. It was fun. So just look around, and just kind of feeling your breath. I woke up this morning, and I mean, it's amazing how fast that mind will pop in with something, anything, you know. And as we get clearer of filters and distortions that we carry, and for those who don't know the terminology, of filter is a way that we see things, and it usually is based on our past experiences. So for example, if growing up, we had a parent say, "I love you," and smack us at the same time, we have a filter of love that's with that smacking, with that getting hit, the guy getting abused. So the filter of love is abuse. They're the same thing. They come in together. So we start seeing life that way, and probably we'll end up in love relationships where we get abused, or other relationships too. But so that filter, that's how life is. That's how we see life. Distortions are basically anything that's not you. That's not your essence, your being, your so that adds up to a lot of stuff, because our genetics isn't necessarily us. It's something we've inherited. And if it's a genetic that we want to keep, that we want to have, it's like, okay, I like my hair, I like the color of my eyes, for example. That's one thing. But when PTSD, for example, gets passed down through the genetics, generation to generation, and that creates a distortion in us, because it's not even from our own experience, but even in both cases, it will be from our experiences. So taking another nice deep breath in with those thoughts, and noticing, so the mind just finding some way to fill in that space. So let's work with that, because that's a really interesting thing to notice. Here, I don't know, wherever you are in your environment, and just breathing, noticing your breath. And it feels like somebody's got a young child energy behind them. Um, uh, that's there, and that's okay. And whatever's in your environment is okay. So it's not to get into that perfect environment where nothing is intruding on this quiet. But that's part of the environment, noticing that. And then let's just sit with the breath a little bit, just sit and be present, and then just being present in your environment, wherever you are, and noticing when a thought comes up. As soon as you notice, so it might be a little down the line, but just notice. And that thought could be anything. It's basically chatter. And when you notice that, it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Notice what that thought is about, but just kind of put it to the side. And then come back to the breath. Come back and notice the stillness that you're in. And even if there's noises around you, like maybe street sounds or other people or whatever, notice those too. And underneath all of that, just that deeper stillness that's also there. And then notice that little thought popping up. come back to the stillness. And you might also notice if you don't have thoughts in your mind, in your head, there's this pulling that can start to happen because your head is used to being active, bringing something up. And it could be a conversation from the day before, the earlier today. It could be something in the future. It could be replaying an incident. It could be imagining an incident, an interaction. It could be simply a conversation with yourself. That could be anything. And then coming back to the stillness and listening to the stillness. You might also notice like a little pulling on one side. Like it's interesting how that comes up, that feeling of just, even as you go into that stillness and just being still and just relaxed and being, something kind of comes and you can sometimes feel it around you. Like I was just now feeling something kind of almost pushing in there. Okay, yeah, that's kind of growing. So that even going back and forth, the thoughts pop up and then coming back into noticing that, coming back into noticing that stillness. That's growing. The space of that stillness is growing in each of our awarenesses. And since we're doing this collectively, allowing ourselves to go into that stillness. Stillness of being in the moment. And then focusing back on your breath if that your psyche needs that little hook to come into that present moment, into that beingness. And maybe inside of you, you might notice some fidgetiness at somewhere else, maybe in your body, beyond your head. You may notice some tension. Or sometimes it's like that little itch that starts to come up. And all these are really distractions away from coming into that stillness. And that stillness is about being present moment and closer and closer to that alignment, to that time-space alignment of present moment and the pure now. So I want to come back to distortions for a minute. What I was saying earlier, distortions and filters. When you have distortions in your system, As you clear those up, it gets quieter inside. And it gets easier to come back to that stillness, that beingness. And it gets easier to hold it for longer periods. And when there's a certain level of coherence with that beingness, that stillness, I will hear a subtle tone. There's kind of this tone that comes up. It's not always the same. It's usually a higher pitch tone. Or you might feel it also. Feel that state of coherence with beingness. That coherence of being aligned with yourself in the moment. And so noticing the spine as you just come into that beingness even more. And coming down to the lower back, noticing what you're sitting on, or if you're lying down or even standing, what you're lying down or standing on. And bringing your awareness into that lower pelvic floor, your feet. And if you're sitting and you have your feet, you can do both at the same time. You're sitting cross-legged like me, so it's the pelvic floor, but it's also the legs, this, as they're folded up. And really breathing into that stillness. Some of you have a little bit noisier backgrounds, and that's all right. Just that stillness is underneath all of that. So your attention might be drawn away, your awareness might be drawn outside of yourself because of the noise. Notice that and come right back into whatever you're sitting, standing, lying down on. Notice that contact. Is there heat? Or how much heat there is? There's going to be a certain amount of heat because there's the body temperature that's accumulating in what you're sitting on. And notice so I'm sitting on cushions, noticing that texture of cushion or the material you're sitting on. If it's not a cushion, if it's a hard chair or a hard floor, then that's going to be pretty solid against you as opposed to molding to the pressure of your body, the weight of the different areas of your body. So that's the physical level, becoming really aware of that physical level. As you bring your awareness at the physical level, at the non-physical, the energy will follow down. So that second level out is physical, energetic frequency, and there's an overlay of frequency with frequency and energy. So they each have their range, but the range does overlap. Frequencies can be a lot more, they are a lot more subtle, so they can be more challenging to notice, but at that non-physical level, so that's starting to come through a little bit more strongly, so I'll bring this up for people, is that it's sort of like this pedestal, this cord, however you want to see it, that drops down at that non-physical level all the way down to the core. Let's drop everybody down. And okay, so I see one person. I think that's actually dropping down, but it's like you're going out your forehead. Come back into the center of your head. So if that feels like that's you, just take a deep breath in, relax your eyes, and kind of put your awareness down the center of your head. And from there, drop down through your body to your pelvic floor. That's going to be a very different feeling than when you're going out your forehead. Coming into what you're sitting on, and now dropping down. You don't need to direct it with your eyes. I think part of that is people will tend to do that because the thinking is the front part of the head, and then the eyes, when you're looking at things, that kind of pulls us. Oh, Giselle is here. Hi, Giselle. I'm like, nice to see you. It's been a while, yeah. And connecting all the way down through that, from the center of your head, dropping down. So let's take a deep breath into that. There we go. And just feel that stillness. Everybody's really there. This is really cool. This is very good. And very important right now, again. Whether it's, crazy kids around you, hyper kids, I should say, crazy in the sense of hyper and energetic and jumping all over the place, to all this hyper unstable state that we have worldwide. Coming back to this. So here we are. We're here to strengthen each other with this, to really help ourselves take that break. If we're for nothing else, just take that break and come into the state of being. So coming back to noticing what you're sitting on or standing on or lying down on, noticing the physical pieces, the physical aspects of that. So the cushion, the chair, the bed, the floor, that texture. Hey, Michelle, thanks for joining. Feeling the texture of the physical, becoming aware. When you put your foot down on the floor, you have that pressure between the floor and the foot. Or when you sit down on the couch, you sink in. That's got a very different feeling than when you sit down on the floor on a hard surface. So becoming aware of those physical components. And now adding to that awareness, that non-physical, that, I'm seeing like this beam of light for myself, but it can have a different look for you, that really comes up and to your body. So lines up with the physical, but it's at that non-physical level, and then drops down to the core and that connection. So it's that connection to the earth, that grounding. It also gives you an indication of your connection to yourself or your stability within yourself. If it doesn't feel quite stable, or if it maybe, sometimes I'll get it's like there's this layer of dark between where that column of light is and my physical body, because there's some distortions that are clearing through. So that's getting in the way of my really connecting fully in. Hey, Harold, thanks for joining. Fully in with myself. So it could be crumbling, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So just notice what it looks like, and just like, okay, how can I strengthen my connection to myself? What do I need to do to strengthen? What do I need to remove? So Harold, come into, so take a deep breath in, and I feel like you need to kind of shift gears there. And you too, Michelle, because you guys just joined in, so we're kind of like this real chill space, so that's hopefully infectious for you. But just take a deep breath in, relax, and take a couple deep breaths in, and with each exhale, just release. Release the stiffness, release the tension. That tension can be within your physical body. It can be like around you. For those of us, I think most of you are really sensitive to that area, and we'll pick up that information also. Yeah, there we go. And coming into your spine, breathing into that. Again, coming into the lower abdomen, the pelvic floor, whatever you're sitting on. Very nicely. Everybody's brightening up. A little mental riffraff kind of pops in here and there. That's all right. Just notice that. If that's you, just notice that. And then just come back to the breath. So that's the challenge for those who joined in after I was saying that. Is this morning I woke up and it's very interesting to just kind of notice how quickly thoughts will come in, and it's what for? And I was just kind of waking up, so I was still in bed, and I'm like, okay, I'm still in bed. Some thought, some little scenario is going on in my head about it's like, what is that showing up for? I don't need this now. It's kind of funny when you think about it. There's nothing happening. I'm not doing anything. I don't need to do anything. and did it. And so this need to, it's almost like an addiction, but it can be. Sometimes it can be an addiction of that thought process going on. And hold on a second. Hi, I'm on my thing. Okay, yeah, go ahead. So, hi, it's my friend coming in. We have a little bit of a leak problem, so she's just going to take a picture, but that's fine. That is not an issue. We just come back. We have interruptions.
Where would it say if it's on there?
And she's not, okay, so she's not talking to me. So any interruptions like that, this is perfect. You just, you notice, you maybe deal with it if you have to deal with it, and then come back to center, take a deep breath. And then just find that alignment. So your spine, if that's the easiest thing to do. And breathe into that. And if you need to work a little bit more on coming back to that, the doorbell rang and you went open the door or whatever, the phone rang, distracted you. Excuse me.
I can't see anything.
If you need a little extra help and you come back and notice the outline of your body, notice your skin.
Is the handle still off of it?
The top of the handle, yeah, I have it in my hand.
If you look inside the handle, is there any numbers or anything written inside of the handle?
Yes, it says 069.
And just come into that awareness of your skin and your spine.
2-1.
So even when you have those external distractions, so you could be dealing with that, noticing your spine at the same time. And then that just keeps you steady. This keeps you steadier, because what happens a lot for people is that they have a distraction and then all of a sudden you're out of your body. You're away from that. So that was perfect for my friend to come in. I think that's a good example. And sometimes it can feel challenging. It's like, okay, you're trying to talk to the person and stay centered, and that comes with practice. So I don't know, you can rate me on how I did with leading the group and having that, but that was just we're trying to get this sync prepared. It's been a while, and it's down in my studio here. So coming back to what you're sitting on at the physical level, and noticing also that column of light, or what that looks like. I tend to have a bluish white light. Mine tends to look very diffused. If I look closely, it's like all these lately it's been all these kind of almost like little bubbles, little molecules. They're all kind of connected, but they all float, and makes it very flexible of moving around. It's kind of cool. So notice yours, what's it look like? And yeah, some of you, Harold, looks like your column is, to me, it looks like it's in the process of shifting. There's some different layers to it the way I see it, but you might have a different sense of it. So different colors. So just kind of notice that for yourself. And as you bring your awareness to that, it will just help to strengthen that bring it more at the forefront in your awareness. putting your awareness on your column, your connection to the ground, to the earth, your grounding, your connection to yourself in some ways. Just strengthens that. It's like saying, this is important, okay? This is to be noticed, and to come into that. There we go. Okay, that just, it's coming through a little bit more strongly for you, Harold. Everybody else is doing pretty well. There's nothing major. There's some stuff that's showing up for people, but it's not important to clear it. It's more important for you to connect with it and be connected to it. And bring your awareness to that connection for yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna have you do a little fun exercise just to help develop your awareness a little bit. So notice what you're sitting on. Let's start there. And just kind of take a deep breath into that. Notice how that feels. And let yourself kind of this weightedness, like my right shoulder next to my neck started to hurt. Okay. We'll see what's going on with that in a minute. So what you'll notice, like with your awareness, the more you kind of have your awareness down what you're sitting on, or your pelvic floor, your lower abdomen, it's like this weight down there. So everything is just kind of this heavy weight like that. Okay, so notice that. That's sort of kind of that grounded feeling. And now notice your shoulders. So notice how that shifts, come up to your shoulders and notice how your shoulders. Catherine, it almost feels like you've got somebody else on your right. It's almost like they're tapping on your shoulder. I don't know if that makes sense to you. And are you still, is there still this connection thing with your dad going on? That's coming up to ask you. It's like somebody tapping at the door, excuse me, trying to get your attention. So you're doing pretty well at holding, but it's causing kind of that tension there. So shoulders, now come back to your feet. If you're sitting cross-legged, that's still just kind of your feet. If you're sitting cross-legged like I am, that's going to feel a little different than when you put your awareness on your pelvic floor. And remember to drop down from the center of your head, not through your forehead out. So just come into the center of your head and then drop down. and then come up to the top of your head. And then come back down to your feet. Bring your awareness down to your feet or your lower abdomen, your pelvic floor. So I don't know if you're noticing that. You can please comment if you feel like it. But yeah, I saw your comment, Catherine. I'll get back to you. But as you move if you have your awareness like up your shoulders, we did top of the head, and then you bring it back down. So in that quiet space, it gets easier to notice that kind of sliding up and down. So if you notice that, please comment in. If you notice that, that's basically, you're tuning into yourself. So that's added awareness for helping you have a sense of, are you grounded or are you like flying out the top of your head? And when we're used to being in our heads, we don't notice that. Sometimes when we can do a lot of things like come out and go like through our heads, go forward, or we might be pulling back out our back. So when you notice that movement, that helps you to notice like, okay, I'm not really in my body here. Let's come into our body. I worked on getting rid of my father from my space. Yeah. Let's see. My sense is he's not really completely out. It's kind of like he's outside of your body. The problem is that there's to me it feels like it's this push pull kind of thing, and so it's not really completely released out properly, is what I would say. That's how it feels to me, and hence the tension. So yeah, it's like sitting on here, over here. Let's see, Kayla, I think my neighbor's 5-year-old baby, who I was just holding before this, is here with me. Was that the young child you picked up earlier? Okay. So Kayla, come into your body, really pull into your body within your skin. Really pull into that. And keep pulling in and pull in all the way in. Okay. And you feel that not you kind of separating out from you as you do that. So I think a lot of us on the call, and me included, our awareness, we have this sensitivity that's outside the physical body. Like we're a little bit more sensitive. Some of us might even have been used the term highly sensitive person, but it just means that you're picking up more information from your environment. So again, physical level, but then we're coming into, we have that awareness here, and so that has a tendency to diffuse us out. So our boundaries become diffuse. There's a different level of awareness when you come into your body and you can feel like you are within your body, and then you pick up the information that's outside, but it's coming from a very different place, and it feels different. It looks different. It's clearer, it's cleaner. Kayla, oh yeah, that's better. Yes, yeah. So and that might be a good practice if for Kayla, but for others as well. So Catherine, come into that within your skin. Literally, it's like skin level. Okay, this is me. Anything else is not me. Anything outside of here, it's in your space, but it's not me. If This happened to me for for a while, because shifting from working at a higher level, but for me, it's like, okay, this is my body, an arm's length out. Well, this is around me. That's still my space, right? Yes, it is. And the only way you can really clear up this space, from my personal experience of having this issue, is to have your awareness within your body. So, Catherine, let come into that for yourself right now and just check this. Is focus in, bring that awareness like you're looking at your skin level mold. Let's see, this little mold that your skin shows, and you're looking at it from the inside. Yeah, and Catherine, so Catherine, you're another one of us diffused out beyond our physical line here, because I see you actually. You're off center actually also. It's like I see you being, um, it's okay, uh, forward and to the right, from relative to your body. So your body is not centered in your space. Um, so that's part of what's going on for you. So coming into that physical body, physical line, and everybody on here can benefit from this too. So really coming into that center. So it feels like you're just like squishing yourself up, like I can't think of the word, sucking yourself all the way in, and just point, and it can feel really hard. And when I've done that, I mean, it's also feels like I'm coming in, and I feel like I'm pushing cement out of my pores. That's because something else is in my body. So Catherine, don't fight it, because I feel like there's part of you going, come on, I gotta get that. Just notice that, come into your center. So um, uh, just come in within your body, focus on your spine, and just bring your awareness on your spine. Part of what happens with many of us is we get into this state of opposition, because that's also part of the duality paradigm of it's either or, and so it gets into kind of this very fight energy, and that's sort of what I feel with you, coming up, Catherine. That's not a good way to get rid of something. You end up not getting rid of it. It kind of goes away, but it's not really. It's still kind of there, and it's kind of like this instead of just not being there. Um, okay, let's all do this together. So spine, bringing your awareness into your spine, your full spine, and resting into your spine. And if you're sitting down, take a deep breath in, and on the out breath, you're going to relax down, but also just kind of let yourself kind of relax back a little bit also. Like the pillow or the cushion or somebody's going to, you're leaning against those pillows. Not sure what the opposing energy is. It's whatever you're trying to get rid of. There's you, and then whatever you're trying to push away. So that becomes opposing energies right there. There's you, there's what you're pushing against. Boom. So just coming into your being, and if you feel something that says, oh, that's not me, come into yourself. This is me. So that doesn't get into pushing something away, which creates opposition, but comes in, that's just coming into yourself. End of story. So letting yourself kind of relax back into whatever you're leaning against, kind of thing. And with your awareness, kind of going back, bringing your awareness to your backside. So the back of your head, the back of your neck, your whole back, just following that. That's good if you're sitting against something, then really feeling that contact with your back. And bringing your awareness back there. Breathing into that contact. You know, and you may notice that where you have your awareness is like the weighted side. So whether it's the top of your head, the bottom of your feet, right now the back side, so that weight, so kind of pulling you back. Especially in the head. Now notice the head, I'm kind of going up there. I'm saying that also for myself because I just noticed that a little bit of like tweaking at the muscles there. So it's like, okay, I don't need to do that. I can talk, relax back at the same time. And allow yourself to kind of imagine that you're just floating back, you know, so your energy becomes more centered in yourself without getting too mental about it. Just relaxing into the breath. So for you, part of it, which is probably another pattern in itself. Yeah, I didn't see that yet, but yeah. Um, and into being so it can release. Oh, God, I'm missing okay, so when I'm in that duality opposition space, trying to release something versus just being and letting it release, getting to that frustration point sometimes tips me enough to get me out of my head. Yeah, you know, sometimes whatever it takes. And into being so it can release, which is probably another pattern in and of itself. Well, and you know, we have to deal with the psyche too. So the psyche has its pattern, and I say the psyche, it's kind of the pain part of the pain body, but that subconscious thing, that's not what Moss gets into. You know, it's more that patterning and that automatic patterning, and so might have to go through that to kind of get into that relaxation. And yeah, so pattern. Yeah, so yeah, Catherine, you kind of have this. You have a fight pattern, which has been really good because it's helped you, but it's still kind of in you, and so it creates that opposition thing, fighting against, because that's sort of what you've had to do to separate yourself out, you know. And that was fine. And now kind of needing to switch gears, needing to step up to high level, doing that of just coming into your being and holding that. So that creates that separation for you. And the best way to do that again is really to come into the boundaries of your physical body. So I see that the pattern. Yes, good. And we can say, okay, let's shift that pattern. I mean, sometimes it might be useful. So, but it's like, you know, patterns, we can get rid of them, and we can also say, okay, this is going to be in my arsenal to use, or my tools. But it's about having command of the pattern instead of the pattern commanding you, switching over. So, yeah, good job, Catherine. So everybody, let's if you have anybody has any questions, got a couple minutes left, but any other points, anything anybody else wants to say, but let's take a moment to end this so we all really come into that center line. Yeah, I can see you got it. I'm seeing your spirit, Catherine, going, yay! It's like all happy. So yeah, good step. Coming into that center line or your spine, feeling the outline of the body, becoming aware of that. So let's notice the top of the head too, because that's a way you can get people coming in that way too. I like having a command of the pattern comment. Yes, it's like a tool. You can use it as a tool and it's like emotions, using that to propel you forward, but you're the one who's in charge, not the pattern or the emotion. So top of the head, so notice the top of your head. Go down the sides of, yeah, there we go. Closing up. That's a really common area for letting people in, is through the head, the top there. I think that came up last week with a visitor. There we go. And feeling ourselves in that little shell, that little casing of the skin, and you might also just notice the internals. Yeah, you did good, Diana, today. I didn't call on you, I didn't point you out or anything, but there were some comments. I think you got them, so good job. So feeling yourself in that little casing, it's like this little blanket of your skin that's wrapping you up. Feeling that. And coming down into, let's end with our grounding, coming into our grounding here. And feeling whatever you're sitting on. And I'm just gonna kind of take it a little higher. So just focus on your grounding as I focus on taking you to a higher level of coherence with that. As we end. Okay, taking a nice deep breath in. Opening your eyes if they're closed and just kind of staying in that groundedness with yourself. So thank you everybody for stopping by. If you want more specific work, you can always go to my website, unboundedandfree.com, and sign up for a session there with me, and we can get into really shifting what's out of you. I do also what I call mentoring session, just to help you, really guide you to really get in that place that you need to be for whatever. Yeah, thank you, Michelle, for stopping by. Nice to see you. And yeah, this is good. Come back to these recordings also. If it feels crazy around you, I wouldn't be surprised if you said yes. I'd be surprised if you said no, more than if you said yes. But doesn't that feel good? Now we're in much better space to just be stable, be strong within ourselves, and hold that. And we are called to hold it even more strongly now because we're at the forefront of getting this consciousness on the road here and really getting people shifted over. So thank you all for coming and doing that, because us doing together, physically there's only so many of us here, but at that non-spirit level, we've got a lot of people who are taking notice of what we're doing. Kayla says, thanks, Marianne. I'm ready to take on the party of neighborhood kids going on in our yard. Yeah, and then you could just be present and chill and be in a good space, and then the kids are going to respond to that, because if you're more grounded, they're going to be more grounded. It's like Cesar Millan. He picks up that leash of that dog, and instantly that dog is in place. I love that show. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but Cesar Millan, oh my God. The dog is going nuts with the parrot, with the person. As soon as he gets hold of that leash, boom, instant chill with the dog. So that's how it works. That shows it beautifully. So thank you all for stopping by. It was a little choppy at the beginning. I don't know if Facebook is giving me a hard time for some posts that they don't like. we'll stay with that. But it took me 3 times to get on. But we got on, and really good session. It feels really good, and really clear for everybody. So thank you all for stopping by, and see you next month, first and third Wednesday of each month.